Reality as we know it might be nothing more than an illusion, and quantum physics is finally starting to prove it. Today we are exploring a concept so profound that mainstream science has tried to bury it for decades.
Well, that's quite a statement. What exactly are we diving into here?
We're talking about the quantum observer effect, but not the sanitized textbook version. The deeper implications suggest that consciousness itself might be creating our reality moment by moment.
I remember learning the basics. Particles behaving like waves until observed. But I'm sensing there's much more to this story.
Oh, there's way more. The standard explanation stops at measurement changes things. But here's what they don't tell you. Some of our most brilliant physicists like John Wheeler and Eugene Wigner believed consciousness itself was fundamental to how reality works.
That's fascinating, and honestly a bit unsettling. Why isn't this discussed more openly?
Well, think about what it means if consciousness creates reality. Suddenly you're not just a passive observer in a predetermined universe. You're an active participant, maybe even a co-creator. And that idea terrifies the scientific establishment.
So you're saying our thoughts and awareness might literally be shaping reality at a quantum level?
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting. The famous double-slit experiment shows that particles behave differently when observed. Not when measured by machines, but when there's conscious observation.
That sounds almost like science fiction, but we're talking about actual experimental results here.
Absolutely right. And it gets better. Studies at prestigious institutions like Princeton's PEAR lab have shown statistically significant effects of consciousness on quantum random number generators. We're talking about millions of trials showing that human intention can influence quantum events.
You know, this reminds me of the placebo effect. How belief alone can create measurable physical changes. Could that be related?
That's exactly what we're talking about. The placebo effect might actually be quantum mechanics in action. Studies show placebos can be up to 70% as effective as actual medication in some cases, which makes no sense in a purely materialist framework.
But if this is supported by real evidence, why has it been pushed aside?
Well, imagine telling the scientific community that consciousness, something they can't even properly define or measure, might be the foundation of reality itself. It undermines centuries of materialist thinking.
And I'm guessing there are probably some powerful institutions that prefer. People don't realise they might have this kind of influence over reality.
You've hit on something crucial there. It's much easier to control people who believe they're just passive observers in a fixed reality. But here's the thing. Quantum mechanics shows us that reality is more like a probability cloud until consciousness collapses it into specific outcomes.
So what are the practical implications of this? How should people approach this understanding?
Think of it like this. Every thought, every belief, every expectation might be literally shaping your reality at a quantum level. Recent studies in quantum biology are showing these effects even in living systems.
That's both empowering and terrifying. How do we handle that kind of responsibility?
The key is to approach it scientifically. Start paying attention to the correlation between your mental states and your experiences. Document patterns. Treat it like a personal research project.
Almost like conducting your own quantum experiments in daily life.
Precisely. And here's something fascinating. Research into meditation and mindfulness shows measurable changes in brain activity that correlate with changes in quantum systems. We are talking about scientifically verified mind-matter interactions.
This feels like it bridges the gap between science and ancient wisdom traditions.
That's because it does. Many ancient practices understood something about consciousness that modern science is only beginning to verify. The Vedic concept of Maya, reality as an illusion, might be more scientifically accurate than we thought.
So where do we go from here? How do we integrate this understanding?
Start small. Pay attention to your thoughts and their apparent effects. Notice patterns. Most importantly, understand that you're not just observing reality. You're participating in its creation.
This whole conversation has completely shifted my perspective on consciousness and reality.
And that's exactly why this idea was effectively banned, not through official channels, but through academic ridicule and institutional resistance. It's too powerful, too transformative to fit into our current paradigm.
It certainly gives new meaning to the phrase, "Be careful what you think."
Indeed, the universe isn't something that happens to us, it's something we're actively creating, moment by moment, thought by thought, and that might be the most important banned idea we need to understand.